Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the Railway and welcome to another episode of the Model Railway News. Here we are with the November edition, and this month has been absolutely crazy for new announcements. And the main culprit for these new announcements has of course been Rapido trains, and we're going to get onto these guys straight away. So this started a few days before Rapido made their announcements, and they posted this photo on their social medias. It's a photo of a load of SECR wagons with the caption, "The yard is a right mess. We really need a loco to come and take these wagons away." So I saw that and thought, oh great, they're going to announce a new SECR locomotive. The announcements come along and yes, we get the SECR locomotive, but a whole load of other models as well, steam locomotives that I personally wasn't expecting. I don't know about you guys. So let's get into this. The first thing they announced is a loco that has been produced before, but it's become very expensive and sought after, and finally it is back in the range after many years. It is of course this, the Stirling single, this time on general release, so it's not just an exclusive anymore. For this latest version of the model, Rapido have retooled the tender, so we get a smaller version of the tender, and we've got a new price at the retailers of £212.46. Now, adjusting for inflation, that makes this latest version of the model £50 cheaper than the previous exclusive version of the model. So that just goes to show how insane the markup was while this model was exclusive. So great to see the Stirling single finally available at a reasonable price. The first new tooled locomotive is this, the promised SECR locomotive. This is known as the SECR Class O1, as seen on the Bluebell Railway. And this loco is yet another Stirling design, but James Stirling this time, and this thing was introduced in the 1870s for freight work. And as well as running under the SECR, it also ran under the Southern Railway and British Railways, so in terms of modelling, it's quite a versatile loco. And of course, Rapido are producing their model in all of these different liveries. And in terms of the specification, these locos sound pretty interesting. So these are going to have faithful liveries, as you'd fully expect, a wealth of separate details, firebox lighting as usual from Rapido, twin speakers for quality sound in the tender, proper couplings for the buffer beams, cam motors with flywheels and all-wheel pickup. The RRP is going to start at £199.95 for these locos, and at the retailers they are available to pre-order for £169.96, which I think is very competitive for an SECR liveried loco these days, particularly given Bachmann's much older C-Class loco, which fetches £200 at the very least these days. The second new tooled locomotive announced by Rapido was the Rapido J52 or the Great Northern J13. Now this model has been produced before by Hornby, but this was many decades ago and the model is now well out of date. Rapido's new model should bring the J52 into the 21st century. This is going to be another versatile model with offerings in Great Northern, LNER and BR liveries. And these renders look absolutely gorgeous, don't they? It's impossible to choose. The Great Northern green looks wonderful, but then we've got that photographic grey, which of course has never been done before with this loco. Hornby stuck to more sort of traditional looking liveries with theirs. In terms of the specification, the models will be fully detailed with separate parts. They're going to have a detailed cab interior, sprung buffers, factory fitted speakers, firebox glow yet again, a die-cast chassis, another can motor with flywheels and all-wheel plunger pickup. The RRP is £164.95, although as usual these are cheaper to order at the retailers, with the price there being around £140. I think if these models turn out to be quality, then that should be a pretty competitive price. Again, this is a high-spec loco by the sounds of it. The third new locomotive announced by Rapido is a little bit unusual. It is the Port of Par saddle tanks, and these things were designed specifically to fit under a low 8-foot high bridge, hence their oddly squashed appearance. There were two locomotives, Judy and Alfred, and these were built in 1937 and 1953 respectively for use on Par Harbour. And famously, it was these locos that formed the inspiration for Bill and Ben in Thomas and Friends, and I'm sure a lot of you will be familiar with that. Now, these new locos will be available individually from Rapido, but they're also doing something a little bit rare here. They're offering Alfred and Judy in 2-packs, and these are going to be available in the dark green livery and also the lighter green livery, which looks absolutely gorgeous. The individual locos are a little bit different. These are the unlined dark green and then Alfred in the modern yellow livery. Now, you don't actually save any money by buying the 2-packs. In fact, they're a couple of pence more expensive, which is strange, but you also get the presentation packaging with the 2-packs, as well as an information booklet and also a postcard. So the twin pack has an RRP of £279.95, or at the retailers that's a little cheaper at £237.96. Or if you just want one of the single locos, they are £139.95 RRP or £118.96 at the retailers. And obviously this seems like the more affordable way to go. In terms of specification, these are going to have detailed cab interiors with posable rear shutters. They're going to have a die-cast running plate, an option to replace the NEM couplings with more realistic ones on the buffer beams, cordless motor with flywheel, and while these do have pre-fitted speakers, which is quite impressive given the size, there is no mention of firebox lighting this time, so do bear that one in mind. So look at these things. We've got samples on display already. What a fascinating and unusual locomotive this is going to be in model form. They also announced these new tooled LNWR 10-ton covered vans, and not just in LNWR livery, but also in a range of LMS, BR and departmental liveries. Now, don't you think these vans look super strange? They're very tall with shallow roofs, which gives them a very boxy looking design. Again, a very unique model to run on any model railway, I guess. They said the tooling suite will allow Rapido to produce the usual range of variations, including different roof styles, different headstocks, buffers and much more. The vans come in at the usual Rapido price of £28.01 at the retailers, and pre-orders are open now with links in the description. They've also revealed the engineering samples of their new Lomac well wagon, showing what appears to be a largely die-cast underframe and decking, not to mention all the separate details that you can see. So assuming these models are going to be largely die-cast with quality detailing, these might be more worth £34 than Rapido's Laureate Y was, which was quite light and plasticky. There's been yet more development on Rapido's LNER Y7 locomotive, new engineering prototypes, and at least one of them is running. And they posted a video of the thing running, so here's a quick look at that. Look how beautifully smooth this loco runs. It's very slow, which is absolutely essential, of course, for this type of shunting locomotive. They posted these photos of the 11 samples they received, and while they do say there are some small corrections to make, there's no denying how wonderful these models are looking. There's also a mini update on Rapido's Jones Goods locomotives, and they've showed these body shells off which have been decorated. 4 different body colours, as you can see, each incredibly different from each other. I think my favourite one is that yellow one on the end. For me, it just reminds me of improved engine green. I'm sure once it's got all of the other details on it and the lining and such, it will look a bit different. But yeah, it's just making me excited because it looks like a big Stroudley loco or something. But anyway, they all look great. They also have the new Wisbeach and Upwell tram cars available now to buy. Now these look really excellent and detailed, and I've heard some good things about them. I will be reviewing these models, but I'm waiting for the train pack which has the J70 included as well. So hopefully I will get a review of these models on the way soon, but if you've got one of these things, what are they like? Please do comment down below and let me know. So it's been an insane month for Rapido, so much to see this time, and if you're interested in any of these products, I do have affiliate links down in the description for you. Just after I filmed last month's Model Railway News episode, Accurascale came out and announced a brand new locomotive in O-scale. So yes, this is their first ever O-scale locomotive. So here it comes now. It is this, the Ruston 88 diesel shunter. just like the one Hornby have announced in O scale, except unlike Hornby, Accurascale have announced a ton of different liveries for these. In fact, they've announced 9 different liveries so far. Each of these is available as either a DCC ready model or a digital sound fitted model. And here are some of the highlights. We've got the delightfully unusual Bowaters Northfleet Pale Green with red accenting. How minty and unusual does that look? Can't wait to see that logo. There's also the Eastern Gasboard Dark Red, which looks very different in that livery. And then of course, if you're into this sort of thing, you've got the more recognisable liveries, such as the BR Blue with the wasp stripes. And with a pre-order price of £229.95, I would say that these locos do seem to be reasonable, but they also seem to be quite a bit more expensive than you might expect to see from, let's say, Dapol for a loco of this size. So what have Accurascale promised for that money? Well, they say the locos will have a die-cast chassis, die-cast body frame, and also the die-cast footplate, so this is a largely metal model by the sounds of it. They say the target weight is 475 grams, and yes, that would make it pretty darn heavy. Don't forget the 88DS, it's not that big of a loco, it's only a little bigger really than the 48, so if it's nearly 500 grams, yeah, that will be a heavy-ish loco. Prototypical couplings are on offer. They say they're going to have a fully detailed underframe, a large number of separately fitted parts, a removable cab roof for easy access, that sounds good, sprung buffers obviously, and a 5-pole motor with flywheels, a helical gearbox which is also being designed to allow the loco to run slowly. These things could only run at 15.4 miles per hour at the most, so these locos cannot be racing along like we've seen some shunters doing. Helgen. Finally, they've got a full lighting package on board too, as you'd fully expect, and also pre-fitted speakers. So I'm very excited to see what Accurascale are going to be capable of with this loco in O scale. Obviously, O scale is a lot larger than the scale that Accurascale usually offer models in, so hopefully that will mean more space for even more detail, and obviously detail is what Accurascale is known for. It also marks the start of Accurascale's journey into O scale, and it begs the question, what else have they got in store? But anyway, if you're interested in the Ruston, I do have pre-order affiliate links in the description. Recently, Bachmann made their winter announcements, and for the first time in what feels like forever, they have announced a new locomotive among this season's announcements. And it is this, an all-new Southern Railway booster locomotive under the EFE Rail brand. This was Bulleid's Coco electric locomotive introduced in 1941. And it's a very interesting loco. The term booster comes from the fact that these locos actually had a flywheel inside, which were coupled up to a generator, and this was used to keep the locomotive energized during brief power interruptions, which often happened as electric locos like this moved along. There are going to be 5 different models available in a range of Southern and BR liveries, plus a very attractive photographic lined grey, which I like very much. It's not that often that we see sort of diesels or electrics in a grey livery, so that's something I very much like. The models are reported to feature quality metal sprung pantographs, sprung buffers, detailed cab interiors, directional and cab lighting, a 5-pole motor driving all of the wheels, all-wheel pickup, proper bearings on the axles, that sounds really good, and also a die-cast chassis. And unlike a lot of EFE Rail products, the price seems uncharacteristically reasonable for a new tooled project. The RRP is £184.95, but the typical retailer price is much less at £157.20. And that's made me wonder who is actually manufacturing this thing. By the sounds of it, it's Bachmann. It says Bachmann has invested in a suite of brand new tooling to model the Southern Railway booster locomotives. So it sounds as though it is Bachmann that is producing this, but then why is it in the EFE Rail range? Is it maybe being produced by a different factory because they really have to fight for slots at CADA? Are they trying to improve the image of the EFE Rail brand? Maybe. Or maybe is the standard of these models going to be more like an EFE Rail model and less like a Bachmann branch line model, i.e. not so good, and that's why they've put it in the EFE Rail range. I'm not too sure. If anybody knows the answers, please do comment down below. Either way, I am thrilled to see Bachmann producing a more affordable offering at last. And frankly, even if this model is a little bit simpler than what we've seen from Bachmann branch line, I still think that will be very welcome indeed. So it's an interesting model. Hopefully that will be with us pretty soon. Other new tooled projects in Bachmann's range include the HRA Bogey Hopper in 00 scale, which is available to pre-order for £59.45. And also the L&ER Thompson full brake coaches in a selection of liveries for the same price. To see what else is returning to Bachmann's range, see your favourite retailer. One particular highlight for me though is this, the 94XX pannier tank, which is an extremely good locomotive I think, and this is available for about £140 at the retailers, and I think this is a pretty fair price for that loco these days. Last month, Dapol talked about how they were making improvements to the couplings on their wagons, so that they actually work. Well, this month they're talking about how they're tackling the other cause of wobbly running and derailments, and that is, of course, the wheels. And they're making a more dramatic change to fix this problem. They've invested in some serious equipment to make new wheel sets over here in the UK. It's a new bar feeder and a lathe which they have purchased for their British factory. This will allow them to take direct control over wheel production, which will hopefully lead to some better quality wheels than the ones we saw produced in China. This article on their website goes into great detail on what's involved and how the wheel sets are assembled. So, what do you think about Dapol's continued efforts to move their production over here into the UK? That could be a smart move as shipping costs and production costs in China continue to soar. Do comment down below and let me know what you think. For now though, that is all the news I have this month, and I wasn't kidding, a lot of new announcements here, and all of them are very exciting, frankly. Can't wait to see some of those new steamers from Rapido. Having said that, if there is anything that I've missed out and you think it deserved a mention, please do comment it down below and I will consider it for next month. For now though, you have a great month, happy modelling, and I will see you all very, very soon. Alright, cheers everybody, you take care.